people are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
That is strange.
Wow, this is strange.
For years on September 23rd, conspiracies that the world is coming to an end have flooded the internet. These theories are sparked by the overwhelming appearance of the numbers 9, 2, and 3, appearing in numerous television shows and movies. Not only that, but they tend to correlate September 23rd with an existential threat, typically an asteroid striking Earth or a nuclear attack. But what is it about September 23rd that draws producers to pick this date to put in their productions? Do they know something that we don't? Or is it all just a coincidental pun designed to make these, quote, conspiracy theorists go insane? Whew. Before we dive into 923, if you're a fan of conspiracy deep dives, occult symbolism analysis, and the paranormal, then you've come to the right place, because this is what Strange Sauna is all about. So if you like what I do and you like this content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that notification button so that way you don't miss any of the new updates that I put out. All right, let's get steamy, everybody. There's so many of these predictions, 923, and they all have something to do with the end of the world. This thing has been going a long time, right? Not just this year, 2023. It's this date, September 23rd rolls around. Everybody's going to throw out these conspiracies again, that it's either the end of the world, an asteroid's coming, a volcano's going to erupt, there's going to be a pandemic, there's going to be some portal that opens up. I mean, dango. We're talking about a lot of different possibilities here, and it's driven by all of these movies, you know, all of these TV shows as well. I mean, you're just getting these back to back to back. What is going to happen here? And so where does this come from? You know? So, I mean, I'm just going to go through this list. Third rock from the sun. There was a meteor that was scheduled to hit the planet in 2015. In one of the clips, you had the main dad guy on Third Rock from the Sun say, well, there's going to be a meteor that hits in 2015 and none of you guys are paying attention.
And yet everyone on the planet gets all worked up about these pointless little behaviors, blissfully unaware of the great vaporizing meteor due in 2015. Which obviously doesn't exist because I'm kidding.
The Big Bang Theory, an asteroid strikes September 23rd. The Volcano movie 239 in the license plate. Seeking a friend at the end of the world, an asteroid strikes on September 22nd, 23rd, and ends the world. The movie Deep Impact starring Morgan Freeman. The asteroid would strike on 9/22. Evan Almighty, he said the date of the flood is September 22nd.
Until September 22nd, midday. And if the ark isn't finished by then, you will be.
Is that when it's going to happen? September 22nd, midday?
The movie Knowing, the date of September 22nd and 23rd, the Earth is destroyed by a solar flare. Little Shop of Horrors, you had this September 23rd event that humans will encounter a deadly threat. The movie Tomorrowland, disaster strikes on September 23rd. In NCIS, The Last Man Standing was the episode Do They Know 23? No. You know, that signal there. In Jim Carrey's movie 23, he mentions the date September 23rd as the day that hell arrives. In the TV show Sleepy Hollow, September 23rd, a new dimension is opened. Hello?
Maybe September 23rd?
September 23rd, 1780.
Evil is released on September 23rd in the movie Ghostbusters. This Is the End with Seth Rogen. September 23rd is the date that the rapture happens. In the movie Pandemic, the East Coast is hit with this pandemic on September 23rd. In the movie Labyrinth, evil consumes the world on September 23rd.
In 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine.
TV show Lost, the plane crashes on a remote island on September 22nd.
When did you come here? How long ago?
60, 65 days.
What was the date? What was the date?
September 22nd. It was September 22nd.
Movie Castaway starring Tom Hanks. The driver's license of the dead pilot says 9/23. You have a Taco Bell commercial escaping a concentration camp on 9/23. Guinness beer commercial. If you keep an open mind, you'll discover dark secrets. And the stopwatch stops on 9/23. Okay, you can't make this up. It's just everywhere. Black Eyed Peas video. The calendar of the month. it goes all the way up to like September 22nd and then just stops. So there's the, it's all X'd out on the 23rd moving forward. Asteroid City, there was this asteroid that is going to hit on September 23rd.
Each year we celebrate Asteroid Day, commemorating September 23rd, 3007 BC, when the arid plains meteorite made Earth impact.
The video game Fallout 4, they mentioned 923.
S923, recall code Cirrus.
Don't worry, darling. That psychological thriller about a fake world, whatever. I mean, I don't want to give away the plot though, but it premiered on 923. And in the movie Split, 923. So you have like this alter ego, alter dimension, world dimensions, we're opening up portals. There's something is going to change, right? That's the implication, is something will change on September 23rd. Now, what I wanted to do is kind of go through how this happened. How did this occur, right? I don't know where this September 23rd conspiracy began, but in 2015, there was a viral video posted by this missionary evangelist, Robert Breaker. And it really blew up the conspiracy that September 23rd might have something to do with the end times. In this video, Breaker focuses on September 23rd, 2015, and he analyzes all of these events that are happening around the same time that would coincide with these claims that the rapture is coming, okay? Now, I just wanted to kind of go through the bullet points of what he said on this video, because it's very interesting. You had all of these things kind of align around the same time. In the beginning of this video, he goes into a couple of high-level markers that occur on each day within the middle towards the end of the month, right? And he says that there was a recent drop in the Dow Jones ending in 666. So the Dow Jones dropped 15,666. So he was saying, is that a sign of Lucifer? And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This is going to be a stretch. But then he gets a little deeper into the dates here. On September 14th, 2015, you had the beginning of the year of Anno Lucis, which is the year of Lucifer, the year of light. And this is just another way of looking at the date here, okay? The Anno Lucis it's more of a Freemasonic type of thing where it's how they measure time. Instead of BC AD, they use the AL abbreviation, Anno Lucis. So he was kind of saying, okay, is the first day of Shemitah year as well. So the Shemitah year is this 7-year kind of cycle. It happens every 7 years. And he was saying that, God tends to do something. So is there going to be a market crash? It's like, because it's the year of the Sabbath. The 7th year is the Sabbath year. So you have to kind of take a break, He gets into September 15th, 2015. Now, this is where it kind of gets interesting here, because you have on the 15th of 2015, that was the 70th session of the United Nations. So it was like their 70th birthday. You know what I mean? You also have the Jade Helm exercises. Now, this was something that I had never heard of until I was researching this. This was one of the largest military training exercises that's ever occurred within the United States. This took place within multiple U.S. states between July 15th and September 15th. So this was 2 months. And this was over 1,200 personnel from 4 of the 5 branches of the U.S. military designed to train soldiers in skills needed to operate in overseas combat environments, including maneuvering through civilian populations. Now, this sparked a lot of conspiracies out there. Martial law was coming. They're going to take our guns. They're going to, shut down all these Walmarts and stuff, like stuff that we've recently just heard in 2020. All right. And this was pushed a lot by Alex Jones. All right. I saw a lot of articles saying that Alex Jones was the one kind of behind this, pushing these ideas. But it became known as the Jade Helm 15 conspiracy. And this was a psychological operation, okay? This is what the conspiracy thought, that this was a psyop, a psychological operation aimed at getting people comfortable seeing the military forces in the streets. And why? This was to impose martial law, confiscate firearms, invade Texas, and institute, quote, total population control, unquote. They would use the military to round up political dissidents and remove key political figures who may be against the imposition of martial law. Does that sound like something that we've heard of recently? Another conspiracy? Rounding up political dissidents, right? So some conspiracy theorists have connected the Jade Helm 15 exercise with an apocalypse caused by a comet or an asteroid striking the Earth, all right? Now, this got really serious there because there was a map that was released, and it showed all these states like California, Utah, southern west of the United States. But it listed, like, are these compliant? Like, how much pushback are we going to get from these people who live here? And so when that was released from this training exercise, that's when Alex Jones just kind of went off. All these conspiracies went off saying, like, hey, whoa. What do you mean, like, are we going to get pushback? Like, what are you pushing on us for? Like, what are we going to have to push back to? So that ended. The Jade Helm the Jade Helm exercises ended on September 15th, 2015. So now the big date, 9/23/2015. There was a lot of stuff that happened here. So the fall equinox happened on 9/23, as it typically does, I think. It's right around that day. And this Robert Breaker was saying that that's what he thinks is the real birth of Jesus Christ. Because December 25th, I think it's widely known that that's not the real, birth of Jesus. I think that was a Saturnalia type of event. They had to replace this pagan holiday to get a bunch of pagans on board with Christianity. So he said that, 23rd is the fall equinox, the birth of Jesus Christ. This is what he said. Also on September 23rd, 2015, you had the 70th Jubilee of Israel. So a Jubilee is a 50th year kind of celebration. This was the 70th for Israel. It was also Yom Kippur, the Feast of Atonement. The Star of Bethlehem was visible on September 23rd, 2015. Now, traditionally, this was thought to be the close conjunction of Jupiter and Venus coming together and aligning. But this time you had Jupiter, Venus, and Mars, all three of them aligning. You have the Islamic Feast of Sacrifice. This is Eid al-Adha. I might be butchering that name, no pun intended. Also, CERN. There was a lot of activity with CERN happening around this time. And what's very strange, you had these claims of people, they were putting 9/23/2015, the date, in Google Maps, and it directed them to CERN's address. They put in the actual date, September 23rd, 2015, in numerical format, right? And it just directly took them to CERN.
When I searched 09/23/2015 on Google Earth, I was actually placed exactly at CERN's address in Switzerland. And when I tried to search other dates like 09/23/2014 or 09/23/2016, it turned out that there were no search results. So I just found it interesting that there's a search result for 09/23/2015 in Google Earth, and that search result reveals the exact address of CERN.
So people are saying, what's going to happen on 9/23/2015 at CERN? Why is this taking me here? And no other dates happened. I mean, no other dates took them any other locations. Only 09/23/2015. Very strange. But there's a couple things about CERN that was also just, it's worth noting, right? Because CERN, when people hear about CERN, it's like, okay, yeah, it's creepy, but what do you mean? Like, it was established in 1954 and is now comprised of 23 states. So there's that 23. Okay. It was 1954, so you can add up the 5 and the 4s. That's 9, and then 2, 3, 23 states. They invented the World Wide Web, the internet, in 1989. The CERN logo. People often say that it looks like a 666. Outside the CERN headquarters, you have the statue of the Hindu goddess Shiva, the goddess of destruction. All right. Now, Shiva is also, some have said, the ancient Apollyon. All right. So there's that Apollyon stuff. Now, this makes sense because people were saying that this was built on an old Roman Apollo temple. The town in France where CERN is partially situated is called Saint Genus Poily. I might be butchering that as well, but the name Poili comes from the Latin Apollaiacum, which is the Apollyon, right? So religious leaders drew this connection that Revelations verse 9:1-11 references Apollyon, and the verse states, quote, "To him was given the key of the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit, and they had a kind over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." So I'm just saying, they got this statue of Shiva, which is also known as Apollyon. It's built on this old temple to Apollo. Apollo, Apollyon, all the same thing. And it's talking about, in the Bible, opening up this bottomless pit. All right? So that's why people are like, is CERN opening up this pit, this freaking portal? And are they releasing this angel of the bottomless pit? Are they releasing that out? Very strange, you know? So CERN was also known for creating the, quote, God particle. But in the beginning, this particle was originally called the God damn particle. Yes. Yeah, that's right. They wanted to name it the God damn particle, but they didn't, because it was a little controversial, as you can imagine. Stephen Hawking wrote in his book that, quote, "the God particle found by CERN could destroy the universe, as it has the potential to trigger a, quote, catastrophic vacuum decay, which would cause space and time to collapse. And we would not have any warning of the dangers." Okay? Now, going back to this whole idea is CERN opening up portals? Is it opening up doors to other dimensions? Well, you had Sergio Bertolucci, who is the former director of research and scientific computing, told a British tabloid that CERN could open doors to other dimensions for, quote, a very tiny lapse of time. All right? He said that this could open up doors to other dimensions, people. Now, he did say, however, that may be just enough time, quote, to peer into this open door, either by getting something out of it or sending something into it. What are you getting out of this? You're opening up this door to another dimension, and that's just enough time to get something out of it or to put something into it? What are we doing here, people? Wow. So the very next day, on September 24th, by the way, CERN started back up at full capacity. All right. So there's something with this. 23rd, 24th, all of these days right by each other. But going back to September 23rd, 2015, this is very interesting, okay? The Pope visits Barack Obama in the White House. Now, if you look at the Pope and what he did over those 3 days there, 23rd, 24th, and 25th, super interesting. Because 9/23, September 23rd, is the 266th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope. He is the 266th Pope. Now, not only that, but 266 days is the average gestational period. So this Robert Breaker guy was saying, you have the Pope visiting Barack Obama on the 266th day of the year. He is the 266th Pope. The average gestational period is 266 days. Does this imply something is about to be born? Are they bringing forth something? Okay. Now, previously that year, the Pope was calling for a global government to tackle climate change. Very interesting. So that was September 23rd. Moving on to September 24th, 2015, the Pope moves on to Congress, goes and speaks with them. This is the first time that the Pope has ever done that. The next day, September 25th, 2015, the Pope addresses the United Nations. Okay. Now remember, back in 9/15, this is 10 days prior, this was the UN's 70th session. Okay? But guess what was born on September 25th? Agenda 2030. Yes, Agenda 2030 was born on September 25th. And remember, a couple days ago, you had the 266. You had the birth, the gestational. What were they giving birth to? They gave birth to Agenda 2030. All right, this was the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We have the 17 goals for the people on the planet, a.k.a. globalism. This is what they're trying to usher in. And what is very interesting is exactly 500 days earlier, you had French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius warned that we only have 500 days remaining to avoid a climate chaos.
We are, all of you know it, on the edge of a climatic abyss. In fact, we have 500 days to avoid a climate chaos.
He used those words, quote, climate chaos. All right, so this was exactly 500 days ago. So at the end of those 500 days after he made that claim, boom, birth of Agenda 2030. All right, so you have all of these things aligning here. On September 28th, 2015, you had a total lunar eclipse resulting in a blood moon, everybody. Yes. Now, this was the last blood moon of the blood moon tetrad. And the blood moon tetrad was those 4 blood moons between 2014 and 2015 that all landed on Jewish holidays. It was just bizarre. They're saying like, yeah, this was like, when's the next time this is going to happen? It won't happen for like another 7,000 years or something like that. But on September 28th, 2015, the last blood moon of that tetrad occurred, and that was on the Feast of Tabernacles. And Robert Breaker goes on to speak about Green Day's song, Wake Me Up When September Ends. And also, when you look at September, the word sept, S-E-P-T, that means 7. So why is it our 9th month? Same with October, that's 8. Why is that our 10th month? That should be our 8th month, you know? So September has to do with 7. And you had the UN's 70th birthday. You have the 7 years have come and gone in this Green Day song. So 7 years of tribulation. And a lot of people are saying, okay, well, is this when the tribulation is going to start? 7 years? September? Very, very interesting. Okay. And that was all in 2015. So now let's get into September 23rd, 2017. All right, because this guy came back. Robert Breaker, people who were watching that video, blew up, had over 1 million views on YouTube. People are like, wait, nothing happened here, bro. What happened? You said the tribulation, end of the world, whatever this, it was going to happen. Never did. So he posted another video. Breaker posted another viral video on September 23rd, or about September 23rd, 2017. And this one, even more popular, it has almost 10 million views. All right. Now, he explains the astrological events and how they kind of aligned with passages from the Bible, you know, Revelation 12. Now, if you look up the Revelation 12, the conspiracy, or the Revelation 12 astrological sign, end of the world, and September 23rd, you'll probably land on this guy's video. So here is his take on this.
In Revelation 12, it says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven." This is a wonder in heaven. Something's taking place up in heaven. It says, "A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up into the God and to his throne. And a woman fled the wilderness, and there she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her 1,260 days."
All right, so that is the passage from Revelations 12. All right. And then he goes in to explain, look what's happening in the stars. You have astrological signs, Virgo and Leo, kind of next to each other. The alignment kind of matches exactly what Revelations 12 said. Now, here is a little rendition of this and just kind of a summary of what Robert Breaker was going to go into.
But on September 23rd, 2017, there is something that takes place in the stars that has never taken place in 7,000 years of human history, and it will only take place on this date. Here is what they call the constellation of Virgo. Now, what is Virgo? It's represented by a woman who's a virgin. Jupiter, as it travels across the sky, will go into what looks like the womb of this woman and circle around and come out. And what it looks like it's going into the uterus and the womb and coming out, almost like a woman giving birth. On September 23rd, 2017, we have the moon at her feet. And the sun is right over here. And Leo is made up of 9 stars. But we read here that the woman is clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet. That matches up. But then it says it has 12 stars above her head. For some reason, on September 23rd, 2017, there are 3 more planets that just so happen to be in alignment right about here. Mercury, Mars, and Venus. You have what many people are calling the fulfillment of Revelation chapter 12, and this thing happening in the stars, in the constellations.
You have this kind of alignment here. You have Virgo, the woman clothed in the sun, moon under her feet, pregnant with a child. Now, what happens is Jupiter comes in, it kind of goes into retrograde, and Robert Breaker was saying that this moon stays here for around 266 days, the gestational period for a child. The sun is right behind the Virgo sign here, so it is clothing the woman. The crown of 12 stars, you have the Leo constellation made up of 9 stars, but you have these 3 planets. Remember those 3 planets that are aligned? Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Those are the 12 stars that make up the crown. That's what they're saying. You know? I don't know. I mean, it seems a little out there to me, but when these things happen, it's I don't know. It's kind of prophetic in a way. So on September 23rd, 2017, you also had David Meade. All right. Now, this is a Christian numerologist who wrote a book called Planet X, the 2017 Arrival. He also created an end times prophecy based on passages from the Bible. Now, this is a doomsday prediction, just like all the rest, but it's largely based on the Bible passage Isaiah chapter 13, 9 through 10, and it reads, quote, "See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land desolate and destroy the sinners within it. The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light." Okay. So he claims that this planet X, also known as Nibiru, will collide with Earth. And he was claiming that it was going to happen September 23rd, 2017. But it never happened. Surprise, surprise. Right? I mean, who knows? Maybe we're in an alternate universe, you know? I don't know. But he kept on moving these goalposts and insisted that people just kind of misunderstood the Planet X prophecy. But he does believe that the Anunnaki live on Planet X, and he claims that they created the human race. I mean, it's kind of like the Raelians, you know? It's kind of, you know? His theory was given a boost in 2018 when NASA discovered a new planet in the solar system, which they named Planet 9. Ooh. All right, so this David Meade guy was saying that huge solar flares would destroy the electricity grid. You'd have earthquakes, tsunamis, erupting volcanoes, a lot like what we've seen in the movies on September 23rd. All right, so now when that didn't happen, he moved the goalpost to October 15th, where you'd have this 7 years of nuclear war and natural disasters. Okay, yeah. So there's just a lot of stuff with the September stuff, all right? The 923, there's a lot of different catastrophic prophecies that never really come true at all. But what's interesting is shortly after September 2017 and December 6, 2017, you did have Trump declaring Jerusalem the capital of Israel. Okay, so right after those 4 blood moons, Trump gave Israel something that they've been wanting for a long time, right? Move the capital, or look at Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Israel declared Trump the new King Cyrus, which is very strange, because they made a coin. Yes, they made a coin with Cyrus and Trump on it together. All right, and now there is a Trump-Cyrus prophecy as well, that Trump is the equivalent Cyrus of our time. So it's weird, man. Like the whole Trump stuff, everybody looking at him as like a prophet or somebody aiding in the prophet. Like a lot of people thought that it was Trump was anointed by God because of his chances of winning are very slim to none against Hillary Rodham. Very, very strange. Let's take a look at what's happening this year. All right. So September 23rd is coming up. 2023. Robert Breaker is back. And he's explaining that, remember that Revelation 12 passage, Jupiter was the child. It was kind of like ruminating in the belly of that Virgo constellation. And then, 266 days later, birthed, removed, much like the Revelation 12, Now he's saying that there's going to be an asteroid passing through that same spot, but look what the name is.
What we're seeing now in September of 2023 is insane. There is a comet that is about right here. And the name of that comet is, are you ready for this? Child. That is the name of the comet.
All right, so there's a name of an asteroid named Child going right through that the woman, the Virgo woman, wherever her pregnant belly was supposed to be, right? And the passage said something about a child being born, like there was going to be a child, but here we go.
I can't make this stuff up. There is a comet named Child, or an asteroid. I'm calling it a comet. It's actually an asteroid. And this asteroid Child, it used to be like just up here, and it very seldom moved throughout all history.
To those listening on audio, he's talking about like above the Leo constellation. If you're listening on audio, you're going to have to come see this. So get on over on YouTube, subscribe, and take a look.
Go back thousands of years, and it didn't do much. And then all of a sudden, it starts moving. And all of a sudden, and this is the only time in history when it moves, it goes over here, and it goes into the womb of Virgo. And that's around September, I want to say somewhere between the 17th to the 19th of 2023. Now you look at Revelation chapter 12, and you look at this sign, and you go, whoa, it just
he's going crazy.
Got better. It just got more amazing. What? How is there this thing called Child? And who named it? Something like 1920 or something. Some woman saw this asteroid, and she goes, well, I don't know what to name it. I guess I'll name it Child. What are the odds of that happening? And then it just happens to come in here and go right into there and look just like the Revelation 12 sign. That's an accident, right? There's no coincidence. There's no God, people say.
Yeah, so he's getting a little hyped up, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's into that stuff. That's what this guy does, is he talks about the Bible and kind of puts stuff into prophecy kind of stuff. So you have that happening now. That's happening in a couple weeks here. You also have, there's multiple stars that kind of pertain like to the stuff that's happening right now, like that's in this same vicinity and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's weird. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They're meeting on September 18th and 19th, right around when he said that this asteroid was going to be, that asteroid Child. And this is also, obviously before the September 23rd prophecy date, quote unquote. So straight from the United Nations website, they're saying when they meet, this will mark the beginning of a new phase of accelerated progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, with high-level political guidance on transformative and accelerated actions leading up to 2030. So they're accelerating. They're putting the pedal to the metal, baby. And on September 21st, 2023, 2 days before the big day, International Day of Peace. That's what the United Nations is claiming it to be. Okay? So, if you look at 923 as an angel number just overall, it's talking about your celestial guides are asking you to move forward. Okay? Moving forward. Use the resources to make a difference in your life. You have to cut off some aspects of your past. You know, start out with a clean slate. Your whole life is ahead of you. So it's like, it's a transformative time. That's the way it looks. At least that's how they're treating it. But with all this kind of look at September 23rd and all these, 923 and all these movies and stuff, I looked up September 24th, and there's actually a lot of stuff with that date as well. All right. You have all this attention on 923, but there's several conspiracies saying that something's going to happen on September 24th instead. In 2022, many Twitter and TikTok users were suggesting that a solar storm or an EMP might occur on September 24th, wiping out electronic communications and devices. Now, they were basing this off of several things, okay? First, The Simpsons. And why would you not base something off of The Simpsons, right? I mean, if you were a king in, like several hundred years ago or, thousands of years ago, I'd be like, bring me The Simpsons, prophet. I need to know what's going to happen. Because, I mean, The Simpsons have nailed so many things that have happened in the future. But season 9, episode 24, 924 of The Simpsons predicts an EMP and an asteroid happening. You also had in 2012 German politician Friedrich Merz speaking in this in Bundestag. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it. But he stated, this 24th of September will remain in our memories. In the future, we'll say, quote, I remember where I was on that day.
Dear colleagues, this 24th of September 2022 will be a day that remains in our memories. As a day we will say, I remember exactly where I was.
So a lot of people were saying, did he misspeak? It came out later that, yeah, he meant like February 24th because he was talking about Russia invading Ukraine. But people are like, what's going to happen on September 24th? Why are we going to remember where we were this day? You also remember when they were delivering these bug out bags? So 9/24, this is when Colorado was handing out these free bug out bags as part of National Preparedness Month on September 24th.
We've got it all ready to go. Good morning, Ashley. So this event officially opens up here at the Montbello Rec Center at 10 o'clock this morning from 10 a.m. to 2. You can stop by and get a free bug out bag. Just like I said, this is all for National Preparedness Month. And this is all being put on by Denver Emergency Management. All right.
The date and the event coinciding has triggered many social media users as doomsday theories are on the rise. Bug out bags, they were delivering those on 9/24. But I did hear somebody talking about this. And if you're delivering the bug out bags on the day of the rapture, it's a little too late. I mean, come on. It's a little late. But yeah, people were just kind of using that as, hey, it fits this trend of a September 24th apocalypse. I also did look up historical events on September 24th. And there's quite a bit that has to do with a nuclear event. All right. In history, you have a lot of nuclear activities. All right. But there's a lot of different things, too. There's just some interesting stuff that I wrote down here. OK, this all happened on September 4th. In 1493, Christopher Columbus embarks on his second expedition to the New World, setting sail with a fleet of 17 ships. All right. On September 24th, 17 ships embarked to the New World. 1951, USSR performs a nuclear test. 1960, USS Enterprise, first nuclear power aircraft carrier, was launched. In 1963, the U.S. Senate ratifies a treaty with Britain and the USSR limiting nuclear testing. In 1968, U.S. performs a nuclear test at the Nevada test site. 10 years later, 1978, USSR performs an underground nuclear test. The next year, 1979, USSR performs a nuclear test at Novaya Zemlya, USSR. 2 years later, in 1981, the U.S. performs nuclear test at Nevada test site. 2 years later, 1983, USSR performs underground nuclear test. In 1996, U.S. President Bill Clinton signs the, quote, Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty at the United Nations. You also have, in 2007, The Big Bang Theory was created on CBS. And by the way, Jim Parsons, the main actor of that, is the son of Judy and Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons died in a car. But this is a different Jack Parsons than the Jet Propulsion's laboratory. But I'm just weirded out by that. I'm like, really? His dad's name's Jack Parsons? And he died, like, in an accident? Very strange. So, not only that, but there's just a lot of events, like a post-tropical storm, Hurricane Fiona in 2022, September 24th. You have earthquakes happening in Pakistan, both on September 24th. You have a stampede of people during the Hajj, kills 717 people during symbolic stoning of the devil at Mina near Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Another 7.7 earthquake in Pakistan, 2013. I mean, the volcano Mount Rapihu, North Island, New Zealand erupts, 1995. So you have a bunch of these things. In 1966, a Hurricane Inez kills 293 people in the Caribbean, Florida, and Mexico, right? So there's that 293 number. This is on September 24th, 1966. 293 people got killed. So there's just a lot of things happening here. Is this the end of the world? No, I don't think so. I don't think anything's going to happen. But a lot of people have been saying, look at the signs that are happening right now. Could we have a stock market crash? Could the US dollar the bubble is finally going to pop and everything's worthless? It could happen. Am I right? And everything does seem to be pointing towards 923, 924, around that time. September. So what is it about this date that has so much stigma around it? And why are they using this number in all of these Hollywood whatever productions? They know something. They're doing something with it. Is it some sort of magic? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. But, I mean, if we look at all of the previous prophecies that have come and gone, it's fair to say that, yeah, most likely nothing's going to happen. But you never know, all right? So it's always good just to be prepared, get your stuff in order, have stuff on hand. I am not saying anything's going to happen at all, because chances are most likely nothing's going to happen. So, but hopefully you guys liked this episode. If you did, leave a like and a subscribe on YouTube. Also, leave that 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify. Please download the episodes. I'm trying to get up to 500 downloaded episodes a week. So if you guys can help me out with that task, I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everything you do. Leave me a comment. And yeah, I will talk to you all later. Sayonara.